Councilor Casey, are you online? Councilor Casey, are you online? Would it be better if we call you? I'll go ahead and call you. I think that would probably be better. Yes, can you hear us?
Yes. Great. Thank you.
I'd like to call to meeting the June 12, 2024 council meeting to order. This is December.
Mayor David Romero,
Here.
Councilor Martin Martinez,
Present.
Councilor Martin Casey,
Here.
Councilor Michael Matoya,
Present.
Councilor David Olivari.
Excuse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Councilor Martinez, will you listen to that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Casey, will you lead us in a moment of silence?
Let us all reflect on all the wonderful things that Las Vegas has to offer, and be thankful for all of the people who live here that make our community a wonderful place to live. And mourn those who have died. Dr. Robert Vandermeer, who was an optometrist here in Las Vegas, was very well known and very much respected and held in high esteem. Let us pray that his family and all of his friends get solace at this very sad time for them, and for any other families who have lost their loved ones since our last meeting. Amen.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and I do have a recommendation from Judge Trujillo. He would like business number, item number 8 to be removed at this time.
We have a recommendation on the item. We have a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Councilman Martinez. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilor Casey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is public input. We have no public input this evening. Moving on to our mayor's appointments, reports, recognitions, and proclamations.
At this time, I'd like to, first of all, acknowledge all the West Las Vegas student athletes that we'll be acknowledging here momentarily. We know that it's the end of the year and some of you guys already finished school and are ready to move on, but we thought it was appropriate to acknowledge your achievements this year. Each one of you that we'll be acknowledging is a state champion, which Councilman Martinez and myself were on the school board. And I know we have Mr. Dia and Ms. Dia in the audience. You know, the West Las Vegas program has come a long way, in the past 10 years, and that's all because of the coaches, and the staff, and all of you guys. So thank you. So we'll go ahead and start. We'll start off with wrestling. Coach Juan McCartney. The first wrestler we want to go ahead and acknowledge Mr. Andres Lopez. Next one, Cruz Martinez. Coaches, so Coach Montana, I'll go ahead and, again, under your leadership here, the West Las Vegas program. You know, you got it from, not too many wrestlers to begin with, and now you created a program that's, even though we're 3A, we're competing with the 4A schools, so thank you for all you've done, and I'm going to say a couple of words to these state champions that we have right here this week.
These guys, they've been training for many years. Cruz is a 3-time state champ. We're hoping to have a 5-time state champ here with Rambo. It's been a collective effort by a bunch of coaches, Coach Chris, you have Sean, Medrano, Roland, you even have Lucas Marquez going in there and putting on his wrestling shoes and volunteering some of his time. So it's a combined effort, and it's actually a community, family effort that we're doing here at West. So we thank you for the recognition, Mr. Mayor and counselors, and we appreciate the support that our community gives us. Thank you. Come on, Coach Chris, come on. Coach Chris needs to be recognized too. He's major. Basket of our wrestling.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one we'll have, this one was more recent. I'll see Coach right here, I know Coach Rob and Coach Bustos, I don't know which one of you guys wants to come up. Coach Mark. You know, this is the first time for the girls, you know, the same thing, you know, this program has been competitive. I think when Deanna was training back when I remember, and how to, you know, what's going on in the players that you guys are so amazing. And a young team, so congratulations to you guys. I acknowledge, I don't know who's here, but we'll go through the list. Katie Coca. Donna Geffner. Okay, Jet Warner. Sylvia Lucero. And Alicia Martinez. Katie Martinez. Anna Montoya. Ana Ortero. Checo. Marisol Salazar. And this one, if I'm correct, I don't know what she said national, but our New Mexico State home run leader, Molly. Annabelle Duarte. Yeah. Coaching staff, you know, without you guys, You guys put a lot of time and effort. Coach Diana Bustos, Coach Robert Alapone, Matt Ingle, Lynn Gomez, and Marvin Fidea. Again, thank you guys, for representing.
I just want to reiterate what he's saying, these girls worked hard all season long. I mean, we had a 26 and 8 record, that says it all. We broke tons of state records, even national records, so I mean, it's huge, and we returned pretty much the whole team. We lose a few of our seniors that were saddened, but they got to be part of this, and they'll be alumni of ours next year. The city council and the city for supporting us through.
You guys want to come in close for a picture?
You guys want to jump up? Ready? The next one we have is powerlifting, and it's a fairly new sport. Want to see the coaches here? Powerlifting. I don't know if Indiana Grego. She's in. Marcus Tapia. Kevin Aragon. So those are our state champions in powerlifting. The next one we'll be presenting our, I believe if I'm correct, this is the two-time state champs. Esports, coached by Chitra. This program became a competitive sport a few years ago, and right off the bat, you guys, right in the mix. Right in knowledge of your state champions. Markel Peterson. Brandon Ramos. Jesus Reina. Marcus Rivas. Joshua Reval. Elijah Sanchez. Heath Sprick. Ethan Tafoya. Darius Abita. Christopher Rito. Jason Dagos. Josiah Grego. Yes. Yes. Xavier Esparvilo. Sean Fitzy. Fitzy. Christian Lopez. Wilson Lopez. Robert Newman. Yvonne Ortega. Bobby Ortiz. Alex Pacheco. Again, thank you for what you do.
So as Ben mentioned, our program is almost 5 years old. We started the same year as COVID. So our very first year got cut short by COVID, so we didn't have any postseason. The following year, we received runner-up. The next year, we received runner-up, and we are now back to state champions. Coming down to these kids, and there's something that I'm the only person in this room that knows, because I did a little bit of research and I found this out. So we did talk during our school board meeting that we were ranked nationally in terms of all the schools across the country. We were as high as 8th, then 9th, and then we finished the season 12th because our season was shorter than most. But in doing the research, we were actually the #1 ranked team in the nation for Class 3A. These kids are what make the program, and they're looking to possibly compete next year. So let's just continue to support our students across the board for all of our sports. We have a lot of really, really wonderful students. And I think Snapnotes says it best in terms of saying that we have a good wave coming to our town, and you guys are a part of it. So, congratulations. You tall trees stay in the front. Straight ahead, guys.
Your champs. 1, 2.
Thank you guys again.
Again, thank you to all the student athletes for representing the city of Las Vegas well. It's always an honor when we hear about the state championships coming into our community and hearing about the parades and the excitement that it brings to this community. So thank you guys. We love that. Councilor, you have anything to say?
Mayor, yes, Mayor, thank you. Way to represent our community. Thank you for everything you guys have done throughout the year. You know, whether it's actual physical sports or esports. Esports was coming in when I got out of the school board at West. So I do want to say thank you to all you guys and thank you for representing our community in the best possible way. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the administrator, superintendent, teachers, parents especially, because they're the ones behind those scenes. And remember, I was a champ, once a champ, always a champ. Congratulations.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Casey?
we have amazing students in Las Vegas. We have amazing athletes in Las Vegas. And once a Don, always a Don, I'm proud to be a Don. Go green and gold.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So the next item on my report, the Mayor and Council, is I wanted to, based off of, the recognition and national street, I wanted to do a PowerPoint. I did represent the city of Las Vegas. Go ahead. The chambers is empty now, because the AC is so long. It's quiet. The rest of my report, I'll go ahead and I'll put something together. I just flew in last night, so I didn't have time to put everything together. But I did represent the city of Israel, one of 13 mayors. I was able to meet with mayors from Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Ofakim, Mardin, Surat. We had to make a lot more to that. We have a long agenda, so carry that for next time. So that's it on my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next item is councilors' reports.
Councilors?
Mr. Mayor? I have some people who live on railroad avenue, and I guess they're large trucks that are carrying some kind of building materials or something for ATU. And they're concerned about the roads being destroyed by the weight of the trucks. And this is the area around Marfield Street and Railroad. So I thought maybe if somebody could talk to whoever is using those trucks to reroute themselves to a different road or a different route that they could take away from a neighborhood with families. The other issue that I've been called on is that the dogs on Lincoln Drive on the 700 block, I've had a phone call from the same person over and over and over again saying that there's a pack of dogs that's attacking her dogs in her yard. Some of them have torn down the fence, and nothing has been done. So I know that we have a shortage of city staff, but if they could kind of patrol that area and see if they can locate those dogs, and see if they can contact the owners and see if those owners can keep them in their own yard. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on another note, I guess I've been approached by several people in reference to some of the activity that continues in the neighborhood on Charles Street and stuff. I know that, I think we're still lacking maybe possibly another speed bump. People are concerned about racing through our community. And I know that a lot of the community throughout the entire city has always asked for speed bumps, but it's not because we need or don't need speed bumps. I think the real issue is we need to make sure that we have the law enforcement to to serve our community better. I know that we've been short on manpower. We've got new people that are applying for these jobs, and hopefully we can be fully staffed in that department a lot better. I know that's, that might be more than I need to say about that part, but, please keep in mind that, if you're out there drag racing, please, consider the other people that live in our community, especially the elderly and small children, because they do live in our community. So I just want to make sure that we address accordingly. That's it.
Pro Tem?
I'll just say, he said that it's a presence.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda, city manager's report. We have our city manager, Mr. Tim McClellan.
Want to deliver it too? Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mayor and Council, thank you again for having me here.
Councilor Casey, can you hear, city manager?
Yes, I can, thank you.
Okay, great. So again, thank you for having me here. I always like to start with the welcome to our new employees. We have Stephen Erdogan, which is serving as legal assistant. Diego Chavez is a firefighter. Manuel Fernandez is a maintenance worker. Fernando Lopez, police officer. Dominique Miranda, scale attendant. Rodney Perea, police officer. Lance Schmidt, laborer. So those are new to the city, and we want to welcome them. So, I also want to call out that we've made some changes within the utility department. For an interim basis, we have David Marquez serving as our interim director for gas. Thank you, sir. Travis Martinez is our interim director for water, wastewater. Thank you. And Arnold Lopez, interim director for solid waste. Where are you, Arnold? Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Sequoia. Next slide. I'll do it. All right. So some of the updates. Every month I've gone through and I've pulled out different statistics that I think are relevant for things we're dealing with that month. Rather than taking you through about 10 pages, I have about 4 pages of stats to share. So under community development, just want to call out that they are very busy. 55 business licenses renewed, 15 new business licenses, 23 residential building permits, and 4 commercial permits were processed. 179 code enforcement calls for service, 79 citations issued, 12 red tags posted, 6 abandoned vehicle notices posted, and 1 cease and desist notice. I don't know if those numbers stand out large for you, but that's about 3 times of what we had last month. So, ridership or rides. Say it again, sorry. Oh, okay. Great. And then the ridership is 1624. Under the city clerk's office, the 29% of payments received for liquor license renewals that were, or applications that were mailed out in May. Inspection of Public Record Act requests are considerably higher this month. And then the standard tasks are taking place as usual. With community services, the senior center officially was released from probation on May 20th. The senior center capital outlay are concluding. And the library summer reading program's underway. Lunches are being provided by the Robertson High School. The elevator project is close to completion at the library. The museum yielded 112 visitors in May, and we've had a total of 1,394 for the fiscal year. There's multiple repairs taking place at the museum right now, including ADA compliant door handles, exhibit room floors that have been replaced, painting, baseboards, etc. And also I wanted to call out that the Public Works Department has assisted considerably, so we want to recognize them. Okay, next slide, please. The Finance Department. So our 2025 budget was completed and submitted to the Department of Finance. Congratulations. It was submitted to the Department of Finance Administration and accepted. The process was condensed from a 12-week process to a 5-week process. And Finance would like to call out that there's a few areas for improvement next year, including communication within the departments and maybe even note annotation in the working document that we would use through the year, identifying specific items that were built into the budget. The planning, obviously going from a 12-week process to a 5-week process, the planning will be different next year. We'll be able to put out a schedule of the stages we'll take going through budget. And then along with that, there will be training provided. We have a lot of turnover of directors and managers that are participating in the budget process, and so it warrants more training. Preparing for fiscal year end close. So the departments have been diligent in complying with the deadlines, and Finance is working with necessary exceptions. So for example, all purchase orders are closed at the end of the year so that we don't have encumbrances carrying into the next year and causing confusion between expenditures that would occur in this current year versus the next year. So we have to close out all of those purchase orders and reopen POs next year. Also calling out that the Finance Department's recruiting for 3 positions. There's been quite a bit of change within the department for staffing. So there's a general accountant position open, purchasing agents open, and our inventory specialist. So considering that they're short-staffed and the time crunch that they were in, they did a great job during budget. For the Human Resource Department, we processed the 7 hires that I mentioned earlier. There are 16 pending recommendations for hire. So they're going through reference checks, they're going through drug screenings, and then the paperwork flow will take place. Some statistics I wanted to share. We talk a lot about our vacancies. We do bring up the new hires, but we actually have in the city 176 employees that have been with the city continuously since 1984 to current. That's a large number, and I think that we need to make sure we recognize that success. The updated personnel ordinance is ready for review by me, and then it will be brought forward to the governing body for your review and approval. Departments have received their lists and the go-ahead to repair vehicle damages through vendors. Originally, we were calling out on the state purchasing agreement. However, I did learn today that we need to go with the quote process. Is that correct? So we'll be, each department will be able to go out for a quote on the specific vehicle that needs repair. And the city is ready to proceed with getting quotes for repairs to the buildings from the hail damage. The New Mexico Self-Insured Fund has not released any checks for those building repairs. And then the safety officer is continuing to work with AGM Construction on the remediation of City Hall, and we have an estimated mid-July return date. Next slide, please. The municipal court. So effective 7/1/2024, the municipal court fees will be eliminated and no longer followed. We have an agenda item that was removed this evening. We'll be readdressing that one. We're seeking some further guidance from the federal courts. So that'll be brought forward again. The contract with the San Miguel County Detention Center, an agreement needs to be negotiated and established through a contract. We're working on that one. Again, this is regarding the detention center. And so this is a bit of a complex negotiation we're going through, and that will be brought forward to the governing body as soon as possible. As far as our court case summary in May, there were 197 cases filed. The fees assessed amounted to $871. 651 was collected with a remaining balance of $220. The Recreation and Parks Department, they held a blood drive in the month of May. They've been conducting interviews for summer program positions, multiple project meetings, trainings, and radio spots have taken place. I wanted to call out some of the revenue from January through April. Program revenues, $13,761. Memberships, $9,325. Facility reservations, $450. POS daily walk-ins, $1,229. Open swim is $2,423. Youth basketball door admissions is $1,229. And then attendance check-ins for May, 3,533 individuals. The scoreboard at Rodriguez is up. Arturo, did it go on today? Tomorrow. So, thank you. They've been working on replacing broken sprinkler heads at multiple parks. There was a water leak at Carnegie that they worked on and repaired. There's regular maintenance, weeding, trash, and tilling taking place at various locations. So they're staying busy with summer. Next slide, please. Okay, the gas department. So with this one, we have 500 feet of polyethylene pipe and a 15-foot 1-inch polyethylene pipe run for a gas extension and new service at 753 Williams. The gas crew assisted Public Works with a bore under the sidewalk at Riverwalk, repaired underground leaks at 714 Colorado and 613 Lutheran, continue repairing and replacing above ground leaks detected through the annual leak survey. They're cleaning meters of debris and tree growth around those meters. The read-in, readouts, 95. Cutout for non-pay was 15 this month. Stopped meters for the automatic reading was 22. Rereading of meters, 56. And then along with that, daily efforts to replace meters, odorant testing, vehicle inspections, etc. The utility department, customer service had 924 work orders, 693 were completed. There were 3 water credits processed and 1 toilet rebate processed. In the field customer service, there were 357 work orders, 78 line locates, 79 leak checks. Solid waste brought in 1,102 tons. There were 25 receptacle provided, 10 removed, 20 repair, and then they had 25 verifications. Water distribution had 2 leaks, 63 cuts for non-payment, 41 connects, and 54 disconnects. For the reservoir storage, Peterson Reservoir currently has 130 acre feet. Story Lake is at 800 acre feet, and Bradner's Reservoir is at 300 acre feet. And I just want to call out again for Story Lake that back in the springtime, we lost about 420 acre feet from the lake itself. And we're currently working with the Story Lake Water Users Association as well as the state to resolve that matter. Next slide, please. So progress of the city. I didn't do quite as many pictures as I have in the past, but there are several road projects taking place. There's a lot of cleaning in the city of Las Vegas taking place to prepare for the Music in the Park Father's Day celebration and 4th of July fiestas. There will be presentations provided by the directors over the next month, June and July, and so those will come forward to the council meetings. There were multiple events and meetings attended by the governing body and city employees during May, including the City Prayer Plaza, Advanced Metering Infrastructure, or AMI, for water and gas meters. There's a disaster recovery preparation meeting, water filtration with DHSEM, animal abuse and cruelty, along with violent behavior training, Public input meetings took place for Sun Drive plumbing, the Lutheran Lane improvements, and grassy property drainage. So there's a lot still taking place. I just don't have as many pretty pictures. Next slide, please. So I do want to talk a little bit about the separation or division that has taken place with utilities. For starters, with solid waste, Arnold has been with solid waste now about 4 days. In that time, they've started quite a bit of cleanup around the facility itself, and that's what I'm showing as pictures here. Quite a bit of the litter's been removed. Along with that, we have been working to bring in a consultant to help with hauling solid waste out of the facility. We've also been working to bring in additional CDL drivers to help. Our biggest issue with solid waste really is the staffing, and so we're working with that. We're doing everything we possibly can to keep the facility open and operational each day. We do have an amnesty day that will take place on the 22nd of June. There was a PSA put out or a flyer put out on Amnesty Day that we're making a change to, and that is all of the solid waste needs to be brought to the facility rather than having different hubs throughout the city. And the main reason behind that is we just don't have enough staff to be driving out to those facilities, pick up the solid waste, take it back to the main facility, and driving back and forth to each of those areas or locations. So you'll see that change coming out here shortly. Next slide, please. Okay, more progress within the city. Again, David Marquez has taken over interim director position with gas. I was fortunate enough to go visit one of the sites one evening during a gas leak. One thing I want to call out with the team, you have an amazing team there. I've talked about going to each of the departments and what I get to see and observe, and I have to say this group was incredibly welcoming to have me there, showed me things, but they function as an incredibly strong team. And I tried to bring up pictures here. I don't know how well you can see them, but as the gas leak was repaired and the holes refilled, every individual just started doing their work, and there was very little communication of who was going to do what. They were protecting the gas line by putting dirt over it. Then they would slowly allow rock to go above that and then bring in more dirt and pack it down, put the caution tape over at the gas line, so if anybody dug there in the future, they would know that they're in a gas area before they actually hit the line. They would tamp it down with the tamper. People were sweeping, just it ran so smoothly, it was amazing. And there was nothing so very exciting. There was a young kid across the street, probably about 5 years old, watching in the beginning when the equipment was moving, but then there was like very little loud action or anything to keep his entertainment. The hole was filled and it was done. So I just want to say it was a really good team. It was good to go out there. I look forward to doing a full shift with you guys. So thank you for having me there. David's doing a really good job. I'm very proud to have him there. So next slide, please. So one thing I want to call out so the public is aware, we have some grant monies to work on the old city hall. There's preparation taking place to remove this back building that has the garage door on it. That part of the structure was not original to the building. Our ultimate goal is remove that structure. You'll see that happen by the end of June. So we utilize the grant funds. But then once that happens, we're going to work with this building and get inside and clean it out and try to find out what it would cost to actually restore it. So there'll be more coming along with that. Next slide, please. Something else that has taken place, we went into agreement with Highlands University here a few months ago. The students would work with the city to identify artwork, what a topic would be for us to put in the city. With the timing of when the agreement took place, we didn't have time to negotiate or even talk about what the artwork was like. However, we have received a few pieces here that would look great on the Riverwalk, and that's something we're trying to identify the spaces of where they could go. You can't see very well, I don't think, on the pictures, but some of this artwork, the one on the top left, is a 4-foot tall round piece that has geese flying out of it. Really neat piece. It was made with metal and painted with different acetone colors to make the animals or make the birds. Those will go up on about a 14-foot pole, and it'll be secured with concrete, and it'll be at the river walk. The picture in the middle is one of the geese in flight, and that would be situated somewhere close to that top left piece. We have the blackbird on the right. I don't remember what bird they said that was. They added color to it so it would stand out more. That's one that could stand alone somewhere along the river walk. And then there is a flock of duck. I think they're called flock. Anyway, flock of duck that would go, all three of them somewhere, again, along you're allowed to laugh at me, it's okay. Put them along the river walk. So you'll see those coming up. The key point behind this, though, is working with New Mexico Highlands, and in the future, we need to have an art council pulled together to help coach what type of artwork would go best and where would it go in the city. And so that relationship will be established. Next slide, please. And that's the end.
Is there questions? Yes.
Okay, I see some of the city workers at the Safeway parking lot along 7th Street. Douglas, can you tell me what they're doing there?
Unsafe gas leak. It's a gas leak repair. It's a gas leak repair.
Okay, I didn't know if I had missed it, but I better ask you to make sure that I know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to.
So, Mr. City Manager, for Amnesty Day, that's on June the 22nd, and that's on Saturday,
Yes, sir.
and it's only for 4 hours.
I believe that is correct. I believe that runs from 9 to 1.
Okay. And do you have a backup plan for hauling trash to Yakima?
We're trying to make sure we're working with an emergency PO now to make sure that the facility is actually prepared and can handle bringing that trash in. And so we're in the process of trying to get that done. The main thing for us is we're looking at how do we make sure that individuals bring their trash, can leave their trash. If there is any situation in which they come later or closer to that 1 o'clock hour, and we're at full capacity, we're gonna at least give them certificates to let them carry that into the next week to bring it.
I'm gonna recommend that the same personnel up to our staff, up to the radio station and notify people what the rules are and the fees and the hours that we're supposed to be open, because other years that we've had Amnesty Days, it's overwhelming. There's so much trash in this town that it's overwhelming for the employees as well as for the facility. And if we're not supposed to be keeping trash on the floor, it's gonna create a problem. And I can tell you right off the bat that 4 hours is not gonna be enough, but it's a start.
Thank you.
The other thing is, with that contract with the artwork, with the Miss Juarez University, we signed a contract with them, and we were supposed to be involved in that artwork and the selection of it. I thought they were gonna have like 8-foot sculpture work or something like that. The mayor and myself were supposed to be a part of that committee. To the public, you know?
No, and that was, I wasn't able to attend the meeting. Jim did meet with Highlands. The issue was that they had already, from when the first discussion of it when it was first discussed, and when we enacted on it, they had already started the class. And the class, went ahead and selected the artwork. And it was kind of a situation that when we came into the agreement, they did the class. And I'm just not as happy as us not having input in it, but I think we are getting our money's worth for it and vice versa. I think moving on now is making sure that we are at the table. And I think Tim did say he let them know that.
And that discussion did take place, and so we're gonna try to pull together a few individuals to be part of that art council and help
actually,
select the items.
it's already selected, it's
Perfect.
Thank you. Another question I had in the gas department, we had 56 rereads of meters. Why so high? I thought those meters were electronically
If it's-
just put by.
If it's a read and out, this is when there's a transfer of ownership of the location or the tenant to the building. And they'll do a read of the previous tenant, and then what the starting point for the new individual is. So that's from relocation or movement of individuals.
So it transfers. Okay. The other question I had is on Hot Springs Boulevard. I see that on your report, you have that project has been suspended and additional monies have been awarded to DFA in the amount of $111,000. And it's going to be put up to bid. So that wasn't done
Who was
at the beginning.
Okay.
Where are we in the last? Did we do an additional project?
Let me have Arnold answer that one for you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the reason for the suspension was they were already scheduled to begin the contract, but there's some utility work still pending and they're just about finished with that. We're hoping they'll finish in 2 weeks.
Sir?
So that's just a suspension. It's just a small suspension. But the contract has been awarded and the contractor is on board to do the project. And yes, we requested an additional fund to complete the project all the way to Mills Avenue, which we got awarded with no matching funds or anything to the city. And that's already been, they send in the grant agreement, and that's getting ready to be brought to council and processed on the next meeting. But the project is good to go.
So that project will be covered up by the time of the 4th of July fiestas?
No, sir.
No?
No, and quite honestly, I doubt that we'll reach before the fiestas any construction realistically. Because by the time they mobilize and really get started, and they're gonna start off with like concrete work on the sidewalks and curb and gutter, so it won't impact the driving surface.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, yes, I just want to say thank you, City Manager Montgomery, for taking the steps that you have in reference to the interim positions that you put in place. You know, gas department, the solid waste, and of course, water and wastewater. I think that's been a needed item for such a long time that, you know, we can't be successful if we've got a hand in everything. We have to make sure that the hands that we have are taking care of those areas. And the way we placed all of that, it appears that it's gonna be working well. So I wanna congratulate you and thank you for doing that. And I think I wanted to make sure that, you know, that you understand that I think it's a big improvement already. So, no other questions for me. Thank you for doing a great job.
And Tim, I have one question, pertaining to some information that I got called into me. For the record, Southern Miller is still under contract with us, right?
Yes, sir.
Wastewater and water.
Yes, sir.
And under their contract, level 4 operators are required, and that's what they've been maintaining for us for the past 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
That's correct. That's
And I
correct.
just wanted to make sure, because somewhere down the line, somebody may have come to us with us, because we're having 4 operators, which is total IMBS. That's why we have Southern Miller. Prior to this administration, we didn't have those level 4 operators, and we've been depending on Southern Miller. And, of course, you know, it's been, I think, what we've been wanting to do, expecting is for us one day to have those in-house. But currently, as we said, right now, we want to make sure that we do have those, you know, just to dispel any rumors or gossip. We do have level 4 operators within the city.
That is correct. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Can I add to that real quick, please? Well, we're in the process of hiring a level 4 for wastewater, and we just interviewed a level 4 for the water treatment plant. That gentleman comes out of Santa Fe, he works for Canyon Group. He's very reputable and his family's moving down here, so The city of Las Vegas is in the process of getting level 4 for wastewater and water treatment.
I was just, that currently now we didn't have anybody, so that we were in chaos. That's not trying to find this better. Thank you.
And we will continue with our contracted assistance for quite some time because we need to make sure we have sufficient coverage and we have plenty of training in place.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to the next item, we have approval of minutes for May 22nd and May 29th, 2024.
Have a motion to approve minutes? Motion by Pro Tem Montoya, Councilor Casey, would that be a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Our next item is presentations, possible direction, not to exceed 10 to 15 minutes. Our presentation is by Mr. John Spencer of the Tree Board, speaking on the Tree Board's effort to seek the production of an urban forest management plan for the city of Las Vegas at no cost to the city and to ask for council support. Mr. Spencer?
Good evening, Mr. Spencer.
Come before you tonight to ask for an expression of support for a project that the tree board has been interested in procuring for a long time. It's called the Urban Forest Management Plan, and I believe in the handout materials that you have, you'll see that there has been some preliminary discussion with a contractor, but that's what kind of the process and steps but that is just a beginning, and we haven't been awarded anything yet. But the Urban Forestry Management Plan has been a goal of the tree board for years. The problem for us has been fairly simple. It costs a lot of money to get one of these things done, and generally more than $30,000, which we haven't been able to procure. And so we're especially happy to find out that the state has, the forestry division has received some funds because of the fire impacting the Hermans Peak watershed. And that impacts the town, and that impact extends to the forest. So we have actually colleague Kristen Sanders, and she's at State Forestry, Urban and Community Forester, and she has coordinated all of this stuff. And as it turns out, we can get an urban forestry management plan drafted for nothing. Well, not nothing, they'll pay for it. It would be at absolutely no cost to the city. And that is the basic point. We're gonna be able to get a document which we hope that the city will then, once we get it produced, you're not committing the city to anything yet. But the basic idea is that once the document is produced, it'll be brought back to you for, and actually, but if you read the handout, you'll notice that the city is very involved as a stakeholder in the discussions around the parts of the management plan. And that really is all we have to say, and we do understand by looking at this, you got a long agenda tonight. And so basically just wanted to ask your approval for seeking that plan, and then to present it to you once it's produced for approval.
Mr. Spencer, what is it that you need from the city to?
Well, just basically the idea is an expression of support for the seeking of that, of the production of the urban management plan. One of the things that goes with the urban forest management plan is that it makes us eligible to apply for a whole different class of grants. And so we just want to let you know what's going on and ask for your support for the effort. And that will be used in justification for the project to State Forest that will help.
direction, and I'm going to recommend to proceed in the direction and Mayor and Council support to seek reduction of urban forest management plan, the city of Las Vegas and us.
It was a presentation. We could make a motion for direction.
It says possible direction on that. So I just say possible direction.
Motion by Pro Tem Ochoa, second.
Mr. Mayor, would you require folks to please speak into the microphone so that I can hear?
Okay, so there's a green, I believe it's one of these.
Yes.
There is one.
Oh, what?
So if you don't mind speaking into this.
I see it, okay.
But I think we're pretty much, so I have a motion, a second, roll call.
Can you tell me what the motion is, please?
The motion was to go ahead and give direction that we proceed with seeking the production of an urban forest management plan.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Counselor Martinez,
Yes.
Counselor Casey,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Well, thank you very much. We hope to bring you a good document and it is you have there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on to build one of these. That's why you need a contractor to do it. And we are in touch with the contractor. And looking forward to presenting you something to mull over. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to our next item, consent agenda, we have one item. Request approval of the grant agreement between the city of Las Vegas and Carroll Country Foundation in the amount of $15,000. And there's no
There's
discussion
no
on this
discussion,
consent.
so we'll keep the motion. Motion by Pro Tem Montoya, by second. Second by Councilman Martinez, roll call.
Counselor Casey,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya,
Yes.
Counselor Martinez.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to our business items, our first item is request approval to enter into a cooperative agreement with the New Mexico Tourism Department for the purpose of a grant acceptance in the amount of $200,674. We have our community development director, Mr. Lucas Lane.
I was excited to get up here, I guess, no. How's it going, Mayor and Council? Good afternoon. Back in February, myself and the city manager were approached by New Mexico Tourism Department to enter into or to apply for a grant for the New Mexico Tourism Marketing Division. We went ahead and did that, and we were actually given an award letter back in May to go ahead and see if we would like to go into this grant with them. They did have a deadline of March 31st. However, I did tell them that we needed to make sure we brought it to council before we could enter into any type of agreement. So they were gracious enough to allow us to wait till June 12th and go ahead and see what our council would say. It is a grant for a total of $301,011, but we'd have to have a matching grant of $100,337. The city will cover that cost, and come August for the next lodger's tax, the city will go ahead and apply to go ahead and have our monies reimbursed to the city because it is marketing. It'll fall underneath the guidelines of lodger's tax.
And I believe we've done this in the past week, right?
Yes, this is the second time, sir. This is the second time. It's pretty much almost a carbon copy. We just got a lot more things in this time. We found some really good items to go ahead and go with, way to market our community and move forward with trying to brand ourselves.
With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve the entering into a cooperative agreement with the New Mexico Tourism Department for the purpose of a grant acceptance in the amount of $200,674.
Motion by Councilor Casey, do I have a second? Second by Pro Tem Montoya.
Counselor Martinez,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya, Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Marquez.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to our next item, request approval of large tax funding in the amount of $148,964.71 to the city of Las Vegas for fiestas in Las Vegas. Mr. Marquez.
Mayor, council, we went ahead and had a special meeting with the lodgers tax. This meeting was to go ahead and see if we could get fundage for the entertainment for the Las Vegas 4th of July fiestas. We went ahead and asked for, we asked them to be a promotional item instead of a marketing item. We used them as promotional items and were able to fall underneath the guise of the ordinance. So we were able to go ahead and secure lodgers tax funding to pay for every artist that will be conducting the performances at the fiestas, which is 41 concerts in 4 days. That's also going to cover audio and stage. It'll also cover the restrooms, and it'll assist us in television advertisements as well. There's a breakdown in our packet of everything that will be paid, a list of all the bands and all the stuff that these funds will cover.
Mr. Marquez, just for clarification, just to make sure, I know this is probably the first time in a long time that we've done it this way, but we did, and I think it's appropriate to say that we did seek legal advice on how to properly, and again, you said it's promotional, to make sure that these bands are in the city of Las Vegas, and that's been how we're able to see this one.
Yes, sir, Mayor, Council. The way it was explained to us, the legal was marketing is a lot different from promotional. A cup can be a promotional item, and therefore the bands can be considered a promotional item. And that's how we wound up where we're at today, sir.
Yes. Mr. Marquez, I just, we've, in the past, the city of Las Vegas always has had a fiesta council. And I'm not really sure why we haven't gone back to that. Okay. I think what I'm trying to say is, a few people right now are probably taking the lead as far as, putting this whole program together. That's a lot of work. Number one, I know it is. You've got everything from, the event of 4th of July, in the park, the parade, everything that goes along with it. But, in the way I've always seen it and understood it, it's always best running as a council, a group of people that could be appointed either by the mayor or maybe, councilors involved in that, so that we can have a group of people trying to promote our community in a different way, I guess I should say, than just, in the past, we haven't, in the most recent years that have passed, we don't have some of the bands, the Northern New Mexico music that we've had in the past, some of those bands aren't included. And I wanted to just voice my opinion on it more than anything, but there's like Jerry Dean and Elmer King Jr., and they're not part of this fiesta that I understand. They may be in town for that same weekend or something, but nevertheless, what I'm trying to get at is that we're trying to promote, we should try to promote completely and not just leave somebody out or, at least give an opportunity for those. And maybe it's, again, maybe going back to more minds thinking about the direction of it and putting together an event that could be, I understand that, there's only a couple of you guys who will be putting together this 4th of July stuff. So it takes a lot to be able to promote every facet of it, parade, the event, even the fireworks for that matter.
Sure.
So I just would like to recommend that, mayor and council do approve going into maybe next year. And I don't even want to start next year. I want to try to start this year, because at the end of this fiestas, you should have some kind of like an exit meeting
And I think those people, knowing what's being involved, to get through this is best. I may or may not have the support of the council on this, but I just feel that we would have all the angles covered. And, you know, I'm just trying to make sure that we promote our community in the best possible way ever. So, let's see, so I would probably even recommend that maybe even in the next council meeting that we have, that, you know, mayor and maybe council get together and figure out a direction for just the council. Again, I'm just a one individual speaking out on this, so I just wanna see another issue that I was looking at was a stage. I know a stage costs a lot of money, you know, $23,000 according to what's posted on here. We need to find a different avenue to make sure that we can maybe purchase the stage at one point, you know, maybe that's the direction we can go. But how do we save money for the event so that we can have a better Fourth of July? So, anyway, those are just my comments. I just wanted to bring them up to light.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's at the discretion of the mayor and the rest of the council to decide if that's the direction they wish to take.
Mayor, Council, I think that's a great direction, sir. We are in the process of looking into getting the committee going. I think that's the best way to do it. You know, I think the committee should be involved in the entertainment. Staff does a good job of putting the park together as is with the vendors and the parade. I think we could stick with the staff doing that and have the committee deal with the entertainment as far as bands. You know, just for the record, I want to make sure I put it out there. Jerry Bean, Darren Cordova, and Al Hurricane were all approached for this fiesta. They had a dispute of contract, and therefore they didn't want to agree to the city's contract. They wanted to bring their own contract, and therefore we went with our direction and in our direction. So it's an issue that we got to sit down with them and discuss and try to come to light, because they're great entertainers. We would really like to have them here, but it was just a contract conflict that didn't fit with the city.
I'm gonna jump in here, and I think, you know, we'll get back to the discussion, but just kind of on this, I think it's fair to have at least a discussion to know what's happened in the past. I think, you know, being the new guy, he's probably bombarded with some of the stuff, but I think what staff has encountered through times within contracts, and I think that needs to be discussed. So we could, you know, by next meeting, or not for sure, July meeting, we'll have those discussions and decide as a group on how we will proceed from here on out. But I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to be discussed before we.
Mr. Mayor, just one other thing that I wanted to mention, that I understand that we don't have, and maybe Chuck's working on this, I'm not sure, but we don't have a master ceremony kind of to run the program. So I'm not sure where that's going. I just, you know, I know it takes a lot of legwork to figure how, when, who, and all of this stuff, so, you know, I just wanna bring that to light as well, okay? So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we can
Councilor.
address.
Yeah, agreed, and I wholeheartedly agree with your thoughts there about having a committee. I think it's the right thing to do. In prior years, there was always a committee that was able to listen to a demo of a CD of each band, and from that demo, they would react to see who would be headliners and who would be a part of the fiestas. And we've always had a great fiesta. And those three gentlemen that you mentioned would bring a lot of people to our community. We understand that. So we're disheartened as well, but it was just a small issue that I hope that we can address with them. We would love to have them back here. But you know, with that happening and having to get the schedule together, we had to move and had to go ahead and get the acts that we could get, because if not, they are going to get booked up in other areas. And we still have some really good headliners, local headliners, like Sangre Joven, John Fernandez, and we have Gonzalo that's going to be in there as well. These are local headliners from our hometown and in this area that could really bring in a crowd as well. They're award winners, just the way those other two gentlemen are. So we got some great bands lined up.
Well, I appreciate all the hard work. Thank you.
And I appreciate the leadership, sir. Thank you so much. And I agree with you.
Do we get a motion here second?
First of all, you know, I'd like to thank staff and our city manager for going beyond the call of duty and pushing this towards our legislative funding. Previous years, we've used our general budget to offset this kind of funding for the Fiestas. And this year, with our new finance director and our city manager, we also included legislative funding in their budgets for police and sanitation, overtime, and so forth, which really hadn't been done before. So those are very good positive things. And we do have $1 million in legislative funding that we need to utilize. And we will be utilizing. The other thing is, when you're promoting Fiestas, I know it's legislative monies, but I don't know what we're doing here discussing it. If we're not, and it should be legislative and the city of Las Vegas on any advertisement that we put out there for the Fiestas.
Yes.
Or any event. Because this council will never do away with that. So we need our stamp on there too. The MC, did we still have an MC? I heard a report that we didn't.
Right now, sir, we don't have an MC, sir. But we have been racking our brains to try to see how we could come up with an MC, maybe holding additions or something, but I'm gonna reach out to a couple of people that have done it in the past and see what we could come up with. I got some good sources, so I'll talk with them and see what we can figure out.
And as far as the streets, I've been talking to the city manager and as well as yourself about doing a permanent stage at the park.
Yes.
Right below the circle brick that's out there that has electricity and lighting and all that, but again, that's in the early stages and that mayor and council will have to decide and put their input and all that stuff. The other thing is, I saw that somebody sent me the schedule yesterday or today, and it says parade, but it doesn't say who the grand marshal is. And I would prefer that the grand marshal would also be included when that schedule is released.
On that fabric, yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry.
We could do that,
And
sir.
then, the other thing is, I would require, not require, but I would request that, we have 41 groups. And if you would ask part of the contract, that every group give you one CD at least, if not all the CDs they've done, at least one CD, and have the Fiesta committee or the staff raffle it out at $10 an entry and make money back into the coffer for the Fiestas or for the Queen pageant or for whatever it might be. So those are my comments. Other than that, I think it's a great thing. I think it's going to be fun. We're trying to bring another surprise to the city for the 4th, so we'll wait on that one, see if it happens or not. But we've already put the like fireworks and the works, so I think it's going to be great for Las Vegas. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So moved. Motion by Councilman Martinez, with second. Pro Tem Montoya, roll call.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey? Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
I have the motion by Counselor Martinez, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to our next item, request approval for the use and lease of city property to house a manufactured home for the American Medical Response Ambulance Services. It is AMR as per contract 3023 with AMR and San Miguel County for emergency medical services. Mr.
Mayor and Council, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Chief Span. He has the information on the potential lease, and I'll go ahead and let him elaborate for the council.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you remember, last year, we had to redo the contract with AMR because they claimed financial difficulties and wanted to increase our price. At that time, they wanted to charge us $1.8 million a year between us and county as well. With negotiations with county, we brought that price down to $1.4 million a year, which roughly comes out to the city itself paying $70,000 a year. If we had done that original $80,000 or $1.8 million, excuse me, we'd be paying $90,000 a month instead of $70,000. But through that negotiation, the way we had that price dropped is the city and county would provide a facility and property for them to house their staff. Through this, we've worked with Mr. Marquez, city manager, the mayor, and we found a piece of property. The county has already bought a modular home to put on this property. With us doing this, we're saving 20,000 a year. Or excuse me, 20,000 a month. My coffee wore off at noon, so just have some patience. With the negotiation and the contract that the lease that he is presenting tonight from the county will be responsible for all maintenance, utilities of this property. They will be responsible for maintenance of the building as well. It is a 20-year lease, but we are able to end that lease with a 180-day written notice. And it's to be used for any ambulance service that the city and county contract in the future, or if we decide to take over our own ambulance services. But just to give you an idea of the funding that we're saving with this, now let Mr. Marquez go ahead and present his side of it, if you have any questions for me.
I don't know if there's any questions about this.
Mr. Mayor. So, yes, how come this wasn't included on the contract?
It was included on the contract, sir.
We have a contract for us, and it doesn't stipulate that the city is responsible for required piece of land.
No,
It
it,
does, on the third page of 28, it says, Assembly County shall provide an ambulance station and 2 ambulances in the western part of Assembly County, as well as the property to house the ambulance station.
yes, sir, that is very true, but with the city having the largest amount of call volume out of the whole county, we pay 60% of that contract. So to lower that price from 1.8 to 1.4 and save us $20,000 a month, we agreed to help find the property for them to put their building on.
My question is, how come it wasn't included on the contract, the original contract last year?
But the original contract says that the county will provide it, sir, but we're trying to work and save ourselves money. If we want, we can pay the $90,000 a month, but I'd prefer save us money than save the county money, with respect.
And this is a 20-year?
20-year lease with the county, but we can end the contract, the lease with them, as long as we give them a 180-day written notice.
And we can cancel it within 180 days?
Yes, sir, as long,
Working out?
yes, sir, as long as it's a written notice, yes, sir.
Okay, now, I've been asking, and I asked the last time you gave a report for us, that, where are we on, I know you're certified as a EMT and
As a paramedic, sir. Yes, sir.
Paramedic. Are you the only one in the fire department as a paramedic?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And where are we moving towards getting our people certified as paramedics so that we can take over that program?
We're working on that process, sir, but to actually send our people to paramedic school, it's literally about 2 years of schooling. 5 days a week, not including your internship or your rotations at the hospital. So we have to work that out of how we're gonna cover our shifts since we're shorthanded and send these people. I have a couple crew that do wanna go to paramedic school.
Can Miss Juarez University or Luna Community College give those classes or bring somebody that can give those classes the same way they did with the CDLs and other programs?
They could, right now, only Luna teaches EMS and they only teach the EMT basic level. To send them to paramedic school, we'd have to send them to Santa Fe Community College or to UNM or CNN.
Because, I would hope that that's the direction that we're headed.
Yes, sir.
So that we can acquire our own people, and I know the county will probably have a harder time. But, I think we could do it in-house.
Our goal, with all respect, hopefully, is within 2 years for the city of Las Vegas to be independent of EMS on their own.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is one reason why our city ordinance on water says that in-house first. When we have situations like this one, we need to have the water available to businesses like such as this one. And I'm glad that we do at this time for growth in the city limits, within the city limits. There's no discussion, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve the use of the lease of the property. Before I do, I do want to touch base. This property was donated by witness, and it doesn't have a specific use for it. It wasn't for T-ball, baseball, or anything like that.
So, yeah, Mayor, Council, so according to the paperwork and the contracts that we found on the property, the city did purchase the property for $200 and I believe $50-some thousand. However, there was a donation of $143,000 from the Aragones in assets to the city of Las Vegas. But there's no restriction or no stipulations on the property that we can find It belongs to the city to do as we please.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I want to thank Witness for donating that property to the city, first of all. And second, I will make a motion to approve the use of the city property to house and manufacture foam for American Medical Response Ambulance Services. As for the contract with AMR and the San Diego County for emergency services.
Second, yes.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask just a quick question?
Yes, and that's what I was gonna say, discussion now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Chief Span, how much did we pay for the mobile home?
We didn't pay anything, it was the county's on that purchase.
Okay, the county.
The county's gonna be responsible for the mobile home and all utilities. Anything on the property, they'll be responsible. If there's gonna be a fencing put up, they're gonna have to be responsible for that. They'll be responsible for all permits, everything of that nature. The city is just providing the land.
Okay, what was paid for the building?
And then just one last thing, I think, Chief, if I remember speaking with you, you were already working for the process of PRC for that ambulance stuff.
Yes, sir.
I just wondered, that is in the process.
We're in the process of bringing on EMS consulting agency, which we'll be bringing to council later on this month, to take over and help us with this process, streamline it, fast track it, and get us where we need to be as far as treating our people.
Mr. Mayor, so you, Chief Span, if, that 1.4 million that's figured out approximately. So we pay, the city again does pay 60% of 116,000 roughly annually. I mean monthly, I should say monthly.
Monthly, yes, we pay the 70,000 a month. Unfortunately, I get to sign that invoice, 70,000 a month. It would have been 90 if we didn't just see it.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure I understood the contract.
Yes. With what we pay, we could hire a little bit more salary, we could have 12 EMTs running trucks for us. So.
Okay. The county already has a resolution?
Commission approved it yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Matoya? I have a motion by Counselor Matoya, second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Mayor, council, thank you guys very much. Appreciate you guys.
Moving on to our next item, request approval of a professional services agreement for legal services with Holcomb Law Office. We have our Human Resource Director, Mr. Arlene Arfero.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Currently, the Human Resource Department is in need of professional legal services, specializing in human resource law and labor management relations. I have gone ahead and solicited 5 quotes, receiving back 2 bids that are both qualified bidders. So at this time, I'd like to bring both of them on. So I am requesting approval to enter into a contract with the Holcomb Law Office. That's the first one, yeah. The second one will be the next item.
I would like to ask our finance director, so on this RFP's, service agreements, I was under the understanding that you could do services under 60,000 per contract. And here tonight, we have 2 or 3 different ones, for 55 or 35,000. Is that legal? Is that acceptable?
Mayor and Council, the State Procurement Code, Purchasing Act limits 60,000 per vendor per fiscal year. It is allowed.
For the same service.
But it's not by service, it's by vendor. So yeah, it is allowed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That I will make a motion to approve this professional services for
Motion by Councilor Matoya, second. Second by Councilor Martinez. Roll call.
Counselor Matoya? Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to the next item is also request approval of professional services agreement for legal services with New Mexico local government law. Mr. Cuellar.
Entertain a motion, same service register.
Yes, this is.
Entertain a motion on this one. So, motion by Councilman Martinez, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Montoya, roll call.
Counselor Casey? Counselor Montoya? Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Martinez, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving on to our next item number 6, request approval to award RFP 2024-19 for disaster recovery services for the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico, current and future disasters with the Sulzer Group and enter into contract. We have our city manager, Mr. Montgomery.
So Mayor and Council, here a couple sessions ago, we had approved the sorry about that.